Starting today, the lines are drawn. You have to choose sides.
Dear adults, you are not listening to children.
You're a friend.
We are going to inherit a scorched earth because of you.
Or you're an enemy.
Environmental racism.
This is the last time I'll be talking to you adults. You've had your chance to fix this problem. Now we have ours.
Millie Weaver reporting for Infowars.com. We're here at the Freedom Force International Conference in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm here with Holly Swanson, who is an author and an advocate for stopping the political indoctrination of our children. Well, Holly, you gave an amazing speech today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you talked about?
Yes, thank you very much. What we were discussing is the undisclosed political agenda of the environmental movement, which mirrors Green Party goals and communism, and how the environmental movement is using politicized curriculum under the pretense of environmental education to impose that agenda, Green Party goals and communism, on America's children.
Can you tell us a little bit about the piece of legislation that just recently got passed in Oregon, and what's that going to mean for the future of education in America?
Well, the Portland Public Schools resolution on climate change, which was passed in April-May of this year by the Portland Public School Board, essentially ban the teaching of any materials which questioned man-made global warming. And when you ban any inquiry, basically you're silencing teachers, students, parents on investigating or free thought. Science is based on facts and inquiry. This is political indoctrination because you're taking away any ability to really question or investigate. So the impact that will have is the resolution itself also included specific components of teaching, including teaching all students to see themselves as social justice activists. What's critical to understand is the meaning of social justice, according to environmental education, is to essentially achieve the equality of distribution of goods and wealth throughout society. That matches, that definition, achieving the equitable distribution of goods and wealth throughout society, matches the CIA definition of a communist system of government. So essentially having that social justice component as part of teaching climate change means that the Portland public school system, knowingly or unknowingly, will be teaching some 49,000 students preschool through high school to be essentially against our form of government and for a communist form of government, because before you can distribute wealth and goods equally, you have to be able to control those goods and wealth. So in America right now, where independence is king, that doesn't fly with a free enterprise system. And private property, that doesn't work. So you have to train students to be against our form of government and to adopt a communist form of government. Not only is that dictating public policy from the classroom, but it is grossly unfair to the children. It is political indoctrination. The Portland public school model has been adopted by the National Education Association, which has some 3 million members. It's the largest teachers union in the United States. And the idea is to adopt this Portland resolution and have their members participate in going forth and imposing, presenting, passing this same resolution in school districts nationwide. So basically we could have a national political indoctrination system in place in short order. And here's the critical part, before the American people have any idea that climate change curriculum includes social justice, and social justice means teaching communism. Yeah. It's a problem.
Yeah. So with this whole social justice component and the green energy indoctrination, are you thinking that maybe in the next decade we will see a rise up with the youth where we can see massive protests and revolting against, the American way of life because they want to implement these communist or Green Party goals?
Well, unfortunately, the environmental movement is targeting kindergartners, to indoctrinate kindergartners through high school.
We will not have more trees or plants for oxygen.
So the planet's feeling sad. I don't know if you can see the tears there.
Dear Earth, get well soon.
This is my idea.
My idea for solving climate change.
We only have one Earth, and it is up to us to take care of it.
When I found I Matter, youth were driving it, youth were building the websites, youth were taking the action, youth were writing the legislation.
The youth of I Matter, they are the future. They become the face of climate change, and they can compel action just with their presence. I Matter transcends the normal politics of this conversation.
Our young people, kindergartners, 6-year-olds, do not understand the value of freedom, what makes a society work or not work, why our government system is so wonderful. They don't understand that. But they do understand fear. And the idea is to use fear of a dead planet, global catastrophe, to train them, literally train them to conform to the agenda of the environmental movement. The idea is to use fear of global warming catastrophe, of losing all the species. You take away the child's hope, you take away their dreams, and you force them, basically emotionally blackmailing them to conform to this. You become a vegetarian, ride your bike, walk or skateboard, this whole mentality of limitation. And the idea is that from this limitation, then the students will, just as they do in communist countries, they will just go along to get along. And so the weight of the world on the children's shoulders, we don't put a child in an emergency room and say, you help this patient. That's too much for a child. We don't allow a child to drive. We don't allow a child to vote for that same reason. They don't have the emotional maturity. They don't have the frame of reference. And what is going on in our schools is absurd. It is putting children in an activist position when they cannot possibly understand the ramifications of the subject at hand. The Portland Climate Change Resolution literally silences and the child, the student, from inquiry, from any form of debate. And what happens to free speech there? What happens to free thought there? Some of the most basic components of the freedoms we cherish are being eroded by this on purpose, because if you want children to basically submit or volunteer to green communism, this is the way to go. And all you have to do is understand it's the communist model of education, and this is how Lenin, Stalin, Hitler did it.
Why do you care about climate change?
It's not that I don't care. I care very much. I don't know where to start.
You're misinformed.
Yeah.
When most parents, have the idea of their children going to school, they think, oh, my child's going to be taught mathematics, English, just basically these tools that they're going to need to be successful in the world. And so it's just interesting to me that you did say something about them having plans to make it so that children have to take green or climate change curriculum in order to get enough credits to even go on to college.
Exactly. And how that happens is the environmental literacy plans. That's part of the environmental education. And as I said, environmental education, there's enough documentation to show environmental education has proven to be a communist front, and the environmental movement also advancing communism. The basic answer is by using climate change curriculum, politicized curriculum, environmental literacy plans, education for sustainability, you are putting a graduation requirement in place. So any student, whether in charter school, parochial school, or the public schools, have to study this, have to pass a competency test that they understand this curriculum in order to graduate. If they don't pass and they don't graduate, then they cannot go on to college. That's the key component. And again, it's deception. There is a Green Ribbon Schools Awards program right now in place that is advancing the goals of the environmental movement through education for sustainability. And it's awards programs where any school can participate. The problem is when you look at Green Ribbon Schools specifically, green is not just a color. Green is identified with Green Party. Now, if you were to put a name of a Democrat Ribbon Schools Awards program, or Republican Ribbon Schools Awards program, or a Libertarian, or a Socialist, or a Communist ribbon schools program, that would come under fire because it's directly associated with a political party. The same should be true with a green ribbon schools awards program. It is teaching our children by the very nature of the name to align with green, with anything green. And the bottom line is you're using public education as a tool to teach children to eat green, live green, worship green, and vote green. And it's dictating public policy from the classroom. The political indoctrination is into an ideology that mirrors, as I said, Green Party goals and communism. So as the students are being trained from basically elementary school forward to be political activists, then they are learning to impose this. They are learning to impose this on the American people. So if they graduate and they choose to vote on the local level for local policy changes, they're going to vote green. If it turns out that the Green Party is there, they may vote Green Party. But the bottom line is whether the policy, they'll be voting a party line in the policy. And this is the communist model of education to control how the young people vote.
If you could send a message to Donald Trump about the education and what needs to be changed exactly, what would that be?
What I would say to President Trump would be this. The political indoctrination issue in our schools must be addressed because it puts free thought, individual freedom, and our democratic process at risk. So part of the first education policy that I would suggest would be to investigate, to understand, and then to take action to remove these politicized curriculums from our schools. He has mentioned being opposed to Common Core. Many of these politicized curriculums have been inserted as new Common Core curricula as well. And I would specifically state that education for sustainability, environmental literacy plans, and definitely climate change and social justice curriculum would be the place to start.
Let's set the world on fire. Come on, set the world on fire. Let's set the world on fire. Come on, set the world on fire. Let's set the world on fire. Come on, set the world on fire. Let's set the world on fire. Never been here before. Left foot tell the right foot to go. See the whole world coming through the door. Footloose, don't nobody care no more. Come on, go hard to the end, don't quit it. Sky too close now, go ahead, get it. World's the same, it's all a game. Look at this stranger, gon' change the thing.